by Jessica Carson Dean, was a very complicated guy, who was full of class, charm, and elegance, but there's so much about him that's so enthralling. It's easy to love his music, movies, stage and TV shows, but the man himself, not many people knew, was a great man with lots of flaws. For example, I can't believe how many people out there still believe Dean was a real drunk or a party animal, because there are so many rumors and books, and blogs, and so many inaccurate facts and information on Martin. Dean had to be an amazing actor because he had people believing what he did on stage was real instead of just play acting. You have to be mighty intelligent and talented to pull that off. He would walk out on stage with less than half a glass of apple juice and pretend he was smashed by giving it a little shake like it bothered him, and people didn't realize it or didn't want to realize it was all just an act. Dean couldn't have done all that he did, such as singing, recording, acting, hosting and attending various functions for over 50 years, if he had actually been drunk. I think some people were just jealous of Dean because he could make everything he did look so easy and natural when other people had to practice and work hard at the same thing. People called him lazy because he didn't have to work as hard to do something that came natural to him, like singing. He didn't have to practice singing, he could just let go anytime, anywhere. That's natural talent, and Martin once said, "Acting is easy, but working for $42 a week in construction is hard," because he worked in a coal mine when he was young, and some of the most brilliant people go unseen or become understated. Dean was truly brilliant, and he didn't even know just how phenomenal he really was. Most people's first response or reactions is a warm smile when they think of him. Because he was a ray of sunshine, he had such light in him. Early on, Dean went bankrupt a couple of times in the 50s because of poor business management. One of his flaws was he was too trusting, and that can be dangerous. In the later years of his life, we started to see a change in Dean's personality. In the late 60s, you would have never noticed it if you didn't really know him or studied him very closely. He just decided one day to pack his bags and leave his wife Jean and family because Jean and he were having problems that nobody knew about. Martin was the kind of man who didn't talk about his feelings or problems. He kept everything inside, so this pissed Jean off, because as much as she loved him, she couldn't reach him. In 1969, he left home for good. I'm thinking that a midlife crisis hit him a little late in life, because he was 52 years old at the time, and he moved into the Beverly Hills Hotel downtown and started dating a model beauty queen named Gail Renshaw, which was around the same age as his daughter Deanna. He dated her for a good while, a couple of years, and it was highly publicized. She went with him everywhere. You can see them together at major events like the PGA golf tournament and other golfing events and major social events. He was running around with her like a teenage boy that was smitten. He proposed to her and they were going to get married, and if he was going to marry someone else, it should have been Gail, because she was nice and she got along with his daughters and sons very well. Jean even got along with her, but the novelty of her wore off on him and he broke off the engagement, which in my opinion, was a bad move because she was a very nice. Martin started dating a 26-year-old receptionist he met in Beverly Hills named Catherine Hahn. They dated for a while and got married in 1973 after the divorce from Jean was finalized. In March, it was also in the Guinness Book of World Records as the most expensive divorce at the time, with $6.5 million that Jean got in a settlement. Dean married Kathy, but their marriage was not a very happy one. It was very turbulent, in fact. She appeared very evil, if you ask me, and Dean's personality went from bad to worse. I've noticed he wasn't happy anymore, and his light that shined so bright was gone. It was mainly because of Kathy's bad influence on him. He relied heavily on his wives for support in business management. She talked Dean into doing some absolutely horrendous and cruel things, like changing the name of his production company from Claude Production, which he named after one of his first daughters, Claudia, to Sasha Production, which she wanted named after her daughter. She distanced Dean from his own children and family, and he treated them awfully bad because of her evil influence. He adopted her daughter Sasha, and she had a hand in the Dean Martin show and roast, but this marriage only lasted 3 years, because she found out that she couldn't hold on to him. Martin filed for divorce because he wanted out of the marriage, and the divorce was finalized in 1976. It was his second most expensive divorce. She took half of his fortune in the divorce, but he didn't care. Soon after, Dean started to regret all that had happened, but he wouldn't say it, of course. His family knew he missed them, and they missed him, so they all patched things up, and I noticed Dean's personality in the late 70s was changing back. He started to look happy again by rectifying a very bad decision before it was too late. He started talking to Jeannie again, and they got back together in 1983. I noticed on his 83 London tour his light came back in him, especially when he talked about Jean. She was the true love of his life, even though they had differences. She was everything he really needed, and she was there for him when their son Dean Paul died. That horrible day she kept him strong and loved him and took care of him. They were supposed to get married again, but Dean got sick. He told Jean that she was the only girl he ever truly loved, and I know that's true because every time he talked about her he would light up like a Christmas tree, and they were together until he passed away on December 25, 1995 at the age of 78. Contact the feature writers.